4 years ago, like many others who live and work here in Salisbury, I was excited by the prospect of Jim Ireton becoming Salisbury's next mayor. Move the clock forward to today. Is Salisbury better off than it was 4 years ago? Are we? Yes, we have seen a drop in the city's crime rate. I'm sure that our current mayor will take the credit for this. What he will never admit, or what you'll never read in the Daily Times, is that making Salisbury a part of the Safe Streets program was the idea of City Council President Terry Cohen, not Jim Ireton. It should also be noted that the mayor did not move on increasing police officer pay until after the City Council took up the issue. What else has really been accomplished? Jim has spent lots of taxpayers' dollars and wanted to spend a lot more. He has proposed building $250,000 apartments in one of the city's most blighted areas. He has proposed turning valuable riverfront property into a housing project. What else? Well, if Jim had his way, every homeowner and business would be paying higher taxes. Everyone who rents their home would be paying higher rents. 4 days ago, when Jim announced his intent to seek re-election, he stated, "I haven't raised property taxes as mayor." Well, that's technically true. Jim Ireton didn't raise taxes because the City Council wouldn't let him. The truth is, Jim Ireton threatened to veto the budget because it didn't include his proposed tax hike. 4 days ago, Jim Ireton stated, "When was the last time a politician could look you in the eye and tell you he did exactly what he promised when he ran for office? Well, I can, and I'm proud of it." Really? 4 years ago, when he announced his run for mayor, Ireton promised an adequate public facilities ordinance. Ireton promised a civil debate on the issues. Yet he failed to propose an APFO. I'm not a proponent of this type of measure, but I'm not the person who promised it. As for a civil debate, Ireton has spent almost 4 years relentlessly attacking a council majority that has final say over his budget proposal and any piece of legislation he wants to put forward. Is this smart business? Not all of Ireton's proposals have been bad ones. Unfortunately, a misguided belief that City Council exists to rubber stamp a proposal of the mayor has prevented many such proposals from becoming a reality. Why? In one word, leadership. Leaders engage in dialogue. They do not stand on a soapbox and smear other elected officials. Leaders seek ideas and participation from all involved. Leaders are willing to compromise. They don't take a my way or the highway approach. Leaders plan for the future. Jim Ireton's approach has been to literally stand on a street corner and call city council members racist because Jim Ireton lacked to further persuade them to his point of view or to compromise on an acceptable solution. Ireton has continuously refused to sit down with council members and engage in serious discussion. Rather than lead, Ireton has attempted to dictate with little success. If Salisbury is to be successful, it needs leadership. Salisbury needs a mayor who will work with the City Council regardless of who is sitting in those 5 chairs. Salisbury needs a mayor who will work with businesses, ready to help the community, also knowing when to get out of the way. Salisbury needs a mayor who will reach out to all of its citizens. Salisbury needs a mayor who will govern by action rather than attempting to rule by press conference. Salisbury needs a mayor with vision. That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for mayor of Salisbury. While other municipalities are attracting new for-profit businesses, our area has seen many of its larger employers leave. How can we keep the next generation from seeking a future elsewhere? Salisbury needs to be a city that is business-friendly and a great place to call home. Does anyone honestly believe that Jim Ireton is moving Salisbury in that direction? Some of you may be wondering why I chose this spot to announce my candidacy. Behind me is one example of the current administration's hostility towards business in Salisbury. Danny Burke wanted to expand his business and hire more people. Sadly, this hasn't happened yet. Why? Because the Ireton administration has put up one roadblock after another. Because the Ireton administration views business as a source of taxes and fees rather than a partner in the revitalization of Salisbury. It's tough enough to do business in Maryland, yet we can attract employers to Salisbury. We need to treat our city businesses like a treasured resource rather than merely something to be taxed, fined, or charged fees. When someone wants to start a business here in Salisbury, we need to offer them assistance rather than throw up roadblocks. When a local business wants to expand, we need to ask, how can we help? Rather than bury them under a mountain of bureaucratic red tape. Most businesses are not looking for a handout. They merely want the government to keep its hands off. If we want to attract employers to our fair city and to encourage our existing businesses to be successful and hopefully expand, we need a city government that fairly and consistently enforces the laws on its books. If laws need to be changed or repealed, the mayor and council need to sit down and discuss those changes. If new laws need to be enacted, again, the mayor and council need to have civil discussion. But just as we need to show our city's businesses and residents that our city government is fair, consistent, and business-friendly, we need to show our businesses and representatives that Salisbury City Government has a vision and looks further ahead than our current fiscal year budget. I have been blessed. I have been blessed with a wonderful family, and I've been blessed with multiple successes in the business world. Success doesn't just happen. You have to go after it. It requires planning. It requires a willingness to think outside the box. It requires action. A mayor, like any other CEO, cannot unilaterally act. In the case of city government, a mayor needs the buy-in of city council, the city residents, and its business community. This is accomplished by leadership, not serial press conferences. How long have we been told that the revitalization of our downtown area is just around the corner? Is Salisbury downtown better now than it was when Jim Ireton became mayor? No. Yes, I know that our current mayor will attempt to lay the blame on the feet of 3 council members. Of course, that's the problem. Rather than sit down with our 5 council members, whoever they may be, and work out solutions to our problems, the current mayor would rather hold a press conference and attack. One thing that I've learned over the last 8 years as the publisher of Salisbury News is that attacking people is not the best solution to fixing a city, righting a wrong, or solving a problem. Admittedly, it took me a long while to learn that lesson. However, unlike our current mayor or his predecessor, I do not believe that someone is bad or wrong just because they happen to disagree with me. A recent case on point is the former River's Edge condo project. Jim Ireton's solution was to turn it into a de facto housing project. Think of it. Valuable riverfront property being developed as subsidized housing. The city council didn't support Jim's idea. Rather than sit down and negotiate in good faith, he attempted to force the project down their collective throats. Fortunately for the taxpayers of Salisbury, members of the city council came up with a better idea. One that tied into the city's existing arts and entertainment district and contained a component for economic development. Is this the best solution for this problem? Probably not. However, there is little question that the solution, which was agreed to by the council and the developer, was superior to the mayor's plan. A leader would have embraced this better solution. What did Jim Ireton do? Whine to the Daily Times that the council was usurping his authority. If the voters of Salisbury see fit to elect me as mayor, I can assure you neither Joe Albero nor my administration will worry about where an idea came from. A mayor is supposed to lead, and a good leader will take good ideas from wherever they come. Whenever it is time for a city election, downtown becomes an issue. Every candidate tells us that they want to make downtown better. Unfortunately, little has been actually accomplished. Now, I would be wrong to blame Jim Ireton or the city council for this lack of accomplishment. The problems besetting our downtown require some things which are too often lacking in local government, particularly here. We need a vision. We need a willingness to plan for the future. Look to larger cities such as Baltimore and San Antonio. Look to towns similar in size to Salisbury like Harrisonburg, Virginia. And simply look 24 miles to our east in Berlin, Maryland. Downtowns can be revitalized. We have an arts and entertainment district. It's a great idea. Unfortunately, our downtown is currently long on arts and short on entertainment. We need to give people, both from within our area and from outside, a reason to come downtown. If you look at successful downtown revitalizations, one thing that almost every one of them have in common is that entertainment draws people. This is a core premise of Third Friday. Once more people are coming downtown, more businesses are willing to risk their capital and open up more businesses. It's basic economics and common sense. Sadly, two successive administrations have pushed the same old tired ideas, which put an emphasis on trying to lure retail back downtown without the traffic base to support it. The volunteers who have worked tirelessly on Third Friday and other downtown events should be commended for their efforts. Unfortunately, their goal to lure more people downtown on a consistent basis has not been fully realized. This is not because of their efforts. No, it's because downtown still lacks any venue which will draw a critical mass of paying customers. If I am elected mayor, I will work to attract businesses which will provide the entertainment anchors necessary to provide the critical mass for a true revitalization of downtown. Some of you may ask, isn't Jim Ireton proposing something similar? No. One of the stumbling blocks to revitalize downtown is parking. Ireton wants to actually reduce the number of available parking spaces. How can we expect entrepreneurs to risk their capital? How can we expect banks to lend money to businesses when prospective customers have no place to park? How can business people be expected to invest in a city led by a lifelong government employee who doesn't understand the basics of running a business? Salisbury is at a tipping point. Our university and PRMC are the anchors which help to provide incentive for people to want to live and work here. We are fortunate to have a business community that continues to provide employment to our citizens. We have businesses and homeowners who provide the tax base which allow our local government to provide essential city services. We have witnessed a decline in the city's crime rate, and we should give Jim Ireton some of the credit for this. But if Salisbury is to move into a prosperous future, one where our next generation wants to stay and make their future here, we need to grow. We need to help our current employers to prosper. We need to attract new employers, and we need to continue to reduce crime. We need a plan for our future. To accomplish these tasks, our city needs leadership. Thank you.